was a dead giveaway when she had an iced out chain. She's a therapist, by the way. The therapist got an iced out chain. Cooked. It's like you going in for open heart surgery. You look up, doc, make sure you hold me down. And he give you a smile and he got grills in. Oh, you're cooked.
Oh, I'm a love doctor, man. Okay, trust me on this.
I've earned the title, I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. My obedience is to God, not to people.
Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, she doesn't even look like a professional woman at all, showing up to Jeezy's so-called classy party half naked. Look at what she's wearing. Look at the right. I cannot stand seeing so many women, it's mainly a lot of black women, talking about, oh, she looks fine. This is ratchet.
And so as long as I'm in his will and I'm serving and I'm doing his, his word, my sheep will know my voice, even the sheep in wolf clothing. That is not my battle.
Well,
That's
with the
his.
questions that are out there, why not provide the proof of your degree? Why not?
Did I lie? Didn't I tell you this heifer was not licensed? Cheyenne Bryant, we're not addressing her as a doctor because apparently she was awarded a doctorate from some college that is no longer open in California.
Well, a couple of things, right? I have multiple degrees. And my thing is that my proof isn't something that I have to prove to individuals. My proof is already within my credentials, my degrees, and also more than just my titles.
Hi, my name is Dr. Titus James. I'm here with my colleagues, Dr. Pepper, Dr. Dre, Dr. J, Dr. Seuss, and my favorite doctor, he's a foot doctor, Dr. Schultz. And what do we all have in common?
It's in how effective I've been. All of my sessions have been live. For the most part, my sessions with Nick Cannon, Cam Newton, Shannon Sharp, B. Simone, they have all been for the world to see, right? So no one knew who Dr. Bryant was prior to seeing all of my sessions that were live. And they deemed it, as well as I did before they did it, they can't validate me, I validated myself, they deemed it as my work being effective.
I'm Martin Payne, your relationship expert, and welcome to Word on the Street.
Martin, don't you think you're taking this love doctor thing a little bit too far?
Too far? No, Jim. That's what I do, baby. I help people.
Do you have any advice for me? I'm a woman over 30, single, no children, and my fear is to settle. What advice do you have for me or other women over 30?
The only thing that's worse than being single is being somebody that wishes they were and they're married.
You act like you hate each other. You can't be like that.
And so you want to make sure that not settling means that when you marry, you're not sitting up there looking out your window as a married woman going, damn, I wish I was single. Now I can't because I have these beautiful kids and this family.
You gotta be friends first.
And I've settled and I'm in a place that I don't want to be in. See, as a single woman, you're not wishing to be out of anything. You're just, preparing to be into something. And you prepare yourself to be in something you want to be in. And so folks who settle end up being the ones that are saying, damn, I was tripping when I was single, but now I'm wishing I was.
I feel like, and I can speak to some women who are in Gen Z, I've had so many bad experiences dating. And when you have so many bad experiences after bad experiences, it's like riding a bike. It's like you fall off the bike and then you fall off the bike again. You're like, now I don't want to get on the bike. You see the bike and you're almost afraid of the bike. You're like, keep it away from me. And my friends have had—
Can I ask? What is bad experience?
Oh, bad experiences. Yes.
An interesting part of the Cheyenne Bryant saga is that when people so want to hear a certain thing and you tell them the thing that they want to hear, then you're always going to get more and more people, at least by the way that today's algorithms work, following you, supporting you, boosting your popularity, because that's what they want to hear and they're going to gravitate to it. But if you're going to be a proper problem solver, which a proper scientist or a doctor would be, you have to say the things that people don't want to hear because you're trying to get the proper outcome. And that outcome is not to get more followers, get more clout, and to get your name boosted in the algorithm, but it's to solve actual problems.
If you allow me, I was going slightly in a different direction because you made a point of saying I'm going to focus on me. And, you probably have gone to bad restaurants, but that just meant that you didn't go back to that restaurant. It didn't mean that you stopped going to any restaurant. So you've had bad experiences, but the reverse of that is not to go for no experience. The reverse for that is to become more aware, to learn, to understand very quickly who you should meet, who you shouldn't meet, to become discerning. But what's interesting, when you say, I'm going to focus on me, I'm going to focus on my career, there is no relationships in there anymore.
When we talk about the feminization of society, one of the things that comes up is the way things make you feel. And so you're not concentrated on outcomes or things being processed a certain way that's scientific. You're simply thinking, is this the thing that most of us want to hear? If so, then that's going to be seen as closer to the truth. When you think about Esther Perel, she doesn't walk around with a doctor in front of her name because she's not a doctor. She has a bachelor's degree and a master's degree. The master's, I think, is in art therapy or something such. But she doesn't need the title doctor because her advice not only works very well for what people want to find as in helping them solve their relationship issues, but she's actually married. She has proof in the pudding. Whatever she's telling people to do, she's able to do herself. Something that, if you were looking at this scientifically, would matter to you. But if you're not, and you want to feel good, as many people want to do these days, then you know what you're going to get.
Effective at what I do. I'm educated and I'm successful in my lane, and I'll land on this. I created my own lane. And so a lot of times, Marissa, when people see that you created something that maybe they couldn't, admiration turns into envy.
Friendship is not what you say. It's what you do.
Why not drop doctor from your name if you cannot bring forth that doctoral degree?
So I've already covered this, right? And we're here obviously to talk about my new book. So I've earned the title. I have multiple degrees, and I'm not going to prove anything to anybody. And we're going to leave it just as that.
You also obsessed about Cheyenne Bryant. Like, okay, she lied. I can see if she lied and like harmed people. She was on my podcast and she was brilliant. We live in a world where we act like credentials is what determines somebody's effectiveness across the board. And in some respects, it is absolutely necessary. And in her respect, it actually wasn't necessary for her to do the work that she does. That being said, I just don't care. She was on my podcast and she was incredible. I don't care. There are also people who call themselves doctor when they get an honorary doctorate, and I don't think that's much different. Maya Angelou was walking around calling herself Dr. Maya Angelou. She didn't complete a doctorate.
You know, scientific tests have proven that when you drink Dr. Pepper slowly, the 23 flavors taste even better.
What's going on, Doc Squad? It's your favorite doc, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Listen, I am here on my book signing tour. My first stop, Liberty, Florida, in the inner city, at the Roots bookstore, dead center in the Black community.
Trust me, I'm a doctor.
You're just missing the love doctor need to come talk to you a little bit second.
Maybe one day the love doctor will hook you up with somebody. You be my greatest challenge.
When I got my doctorate, I transitioned to a psychology expert, a life coach, so that my hands wouldn't be tied behind my back. Because when I was a therapist working for a nonprofit under a license, there's so many things that you cannot do based on ethics and law.
Love doctor never fails.
Salute to Manosphere Highlights Daily for covering the Oprah interview of Esther Perel. And what's notable in that interview is that Esther challenges many of the young ladies in the audience that simply think that they should sit back on their hands and say, this dating pool is garbage, trash, there are no good men around, and I am destined for a life of unhappiness because no men are up to par, saying that you need to be a bit more proactive and say that this is a new environment where after Me Too and a lot of different things happening, men are behaving differently, and rightly so. But there's another doctor that we all know that also actually, well, a proper doctor this time, that actually had marital success, and she spoke on a variety of talk shows. Dr. Laura Schlessinger, I think I said her name right. She married twice, and she's an actual doctor from Colombia. Listen to her challenge her female callers.
I will be just having a regular day, and he will walk up to me and say, "You're not smiling," and it just deflates me so much because I'm not. I have my own business. I'm busy. I'm thinking about what I'm doing.
When you were dating, and you had things on your mind, and you had menstrual cramps and all of that, and he walked into the room, did you not smile? Yes, you did.
Yes.
So don't give me this garbage, please. Don't. This is your man. The core of your life is the relationship so that you're not alone and you have somebody who'll care when you're on your last leg. This has priority over feeling anything about your business. It's really nice to smile at each other. It's such a small thing. And the relationship is built of these small things. And for you to complain that he simply wants you to smile is really sad.
Now I'm going back to Cheyenne Bryant because I want to be clear. If Black people have long not trusted the medical establishment for good reason, have long been skeptical of mental health institutions in the United States for good reason, then someone coming and purporting themselves to be a mental health authority and expert only to be found to be lying does a lot to damage the trust of the community. It's just very dangerous. This is not harmless work. I don't care about people's bougie credentials. That's not the point for me. It's about what kind of trust the public gives you. And it's about the harm that can be done under those circumstances.
They say the reason that you don't get questioned or tested as much is because of your quote unquote looks.
I said this last time I was on, you might be my alter ego brother. Because some of the stuff you say is just right up the alley of what needs to be addressed. So there's pretty privilege, and I've learned that there's pretty punishment. And I didn't really understand that term until I got into my field.
When we speak about feminization in the greater and Western civilization in general, and more specifically in the Black community, which is extremely feminized, it really boils down to one simple principle, that the feelings of a certain group of people, or the people that you deem are the most important, matter more than process, than tradition, than any long-standing set of rules or doctrines. And so you have to change doctrines and ways that you do things in order to produce the feel-good. You can hear that in the way that Mark Lamont Hill is very careful in his criticism of a woman who cannot produce a copy of her degree. And it can also be seen in the graduation of 7 Spelman graduates whom are all valedictorians. Now, I'm not saying that these 7 women aren't smart as nails, because they are. They are good enough to graduate with the highest honor from Spelman, but we're in a generation now where we don't have a single valedictorian. We have 7. So one of these young ladies is the actual valedictorian, but because of the feelings of the other 6, you essentially tell the valedictorian, the one that actually is the highest honor earning one of all 7, you need to share this honor with the other 6 because it's not fair to their feelings or to whatever you want to say it. Because the idea of the valedictorian is it is the top student. It's been that way forever. But if you're going to have a more feminized society that cares more about the way people feel than the actual fact that the valedictorian is one person, then you make 7 people valedictorian, and then one year you're going to have 12 valedictorians, and then you're going to have 20 valedictorians, and then maybe you might have a year where everyone's a valedictorian. That's the only way it can go. The difference between the conversation that we're having in the Black community and the one that you're hearing from Esther Perel or Dr. Schlessinger is that they're willing to say things to women that they don't want to hear, that they have an active part in making their relationships work, in finding an adequate mate, and that there are some things that they may actually be doing wrong. But if you're in a highly feminized environment where the feelings of the person you're speaking to matter above all, then you get a community of Black people vouching for a doctor that doesn't have a doctor's certificate. And for all of the Black women that have earned doctorate degrees, they're looking at Cheyenne Bryant and they're split. Some of them saying, hey, I worked really hard to get my degree. I want it to be honored properly. And others saying, well, we got to worry about the feelings of everyone involved because it's important to make sure that everyone feels a certain way because she is pretty after all, and she says things that I like to hear, so we have to do what's good for everyone. Of course, the end result of all of it is that you have people getting information from a woman who's never been married, that I think she's a single mother, and she's really good at looking a certain way to get attention, and that attention gets her more followers, and those followers boost her in algorithm, and a boost in the algorithm means that she's someone that some people deem as someone that you can rely on in terms of information, and the information she's giving is stay single, girl, because you don't want to be married looking outside wishing that you were single. Do you think that Dr. Laura or Esther Perel would ever give that information to a woman? Of course not. Because of the highly feminized black community, first of all, I don't think that dating has much hope, if there's any hope left. And I think the reason for that is simple. We've seen it from Oprah to Steve Harvey to Derek Jackson, now quote unquote Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. If you get into the vicinity of enough black people and, dare I say, black women, and you just tell them what they want to hear, validate the decisions that they're making, that, hey girl, have a HOE phase, live your life the way you want to, you know, these guys ain't nothing, we're running circles around them, they will not only support you, they will send you money, and they will parrot that voice and boost you up in the algorithm. But at the end of the day, the outcomes just aren't going to match. And this is exactly what a feminized society gets you. It gets a lot of people being lied to, a lot of grifters making a lot of money, and no one caring about the outcomes, which is trying to establish families so you can build something bigger than people spending money and celebrating it on social media. This is what a feminized black community gets you. Thanks for watching. Let's subscribe, comment below. I'll catch you next video. Take care, guys.